You know what 6 movies average out to be really good? The first 6 Star Trek movies.
Welcome, everyone. We are here to do our very first review of the very first Star Trek feature-length movie. And today, Adam is joining me as always. We're going to talk about Star Trek, the motion picture, released in 1979. That's what I used to call it, the slow motion picture.
Oh, because it's got pacing issues?
Yeah, it's got pacing issues. Or it had pacing. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But we watched the director's cut, so who knows? Released on the 7th of December 1979. Screenplay by Harold Livingston. Story by Alan Dean Foster. Directed by Robert Wise. Produced by Gene Roddenberry. And in-universe date is 7410.2 to 7414.1, basically in the 2270s. Before we actually begin with the review of the movie, myself and Adam, we have to kind of talk a little bit about our experience with TOS, which isn't a lot, so we're not going to make a super detailed review. You could probably check this by looking at the runtime. And we're not that experienced with all the subtleties and nuances of the characters and all that jazz. So let's just talk a little bit about what we know about TOS and how it matters in this movie. And I'd like to basically say that I enjoy the TOS movies without question. And I get the concepts from the TV show. But for me, being a child of the 80s and having grown up on the TNG TV show first, alongside the movies, the TOS movies, I find the acting from the 60s a bit jarring, even though I know the TV show is presented as serious and scary for its time, even for a family TV show. I have to keep fighting the idea that it isn't campy and unbelievable. I always have to try and keep that in mind, whereas those considerations, I don't have to think about that with Star Trek, TNG, and all the other spin-offs. That puts my understanding of TOS at a disadvantage. And one final thing I would like to say, before I hand it over to you, is that the movies, however, are more serious. And so I love the TOS movies, and I do think that they are actually better than TNG movies when it comes to the story. Maybe the visual effects, but all visual effects age, basically. To me, as a flip, the TOS movies are just far, far better than TNG movies, whereas the TNG TV show, to me, is far more accessible and believable than TOS.
The original series, for me, it is that fine line of it's a product of its time, and you really feel it when you watch those episodes. I mean, I've only caught a few of them on BBC Two when I was younger and stuff. They were always playing on there. And everybody sort of, in this day and age, you know who Captain Kirk is. You know the classic characters like Spock and Bones and like Scotty and stuff like that. Those names, and that's how big of an cultural impact it's had. Like people, even who are not massive Star Trek fans, will know who those characters are. That's how much of a cultural impact it had. So there's no taking away from that. But at the same time, when you're watching those episodes, they do feel a little bit jarring. They do feel a bit dated. And some of the acting and the storylines and the effects and the background things, it's all very much, it's very dated. And you can feel it sometimes when you're watching it. Whereas you say, though, like the movies are like night and day to that. Like they are way different and a bit more have a serious tone, which is really good because obviously those characters I feel deserve that sort of platform to have. And for fans of the whole genre to be like, wow, this is really cool. They've really upped it. I really felt that when I watched the motion picture, which, by the way, I don't actually think I've seen this movie. I don't think I've seen it fully, or if I've seen it at all, I don't think I did. I watched it, and I was like, I remember this. I remember, obviously, you watch Rapper Khan, because like, you can't. But this one, the motion picture, I was like, I don't think I've seen this. We're going to get into that and talk about it more. But I was, pleasantly surprised by this movie.
That's really good because one of my first questions is about the plot. So I'll probably get a really, really authentic answer to that. Just to go back on what you were saying about Kirk, Spock, and McCoy have permeated normie culture, and we know who they are. Do you know who Captain Michael Burnham is? Ever heard of her?
That's permeated culture in the wrong way.
If at all.
Yeah. That's tried to erase everything that came before it and shit on everything that came before it, which is unfortunate.
I can't wait to review the other TOS movies with you, so eventually we'll get there.
Voyager. Voyager. Voyager 6.
So I'll just jump into the plot. Because everything, to me, with this movie, so I'm obviously going to come at this with a very biased view. To me, everything from this movie hinges on the revelation that V'Ger is Voyager 6. You said you didn't know, so when you found out, what did you think?
Honestly, watching this movie, first of all, aesthetically super pleasing. You say like things about effects. I think a lot of money was probably spent on this because it looks like it's aged pretty well. I know it's a digital sort of re-release and stuff like that, but I feel like it's aged really well. Obviously, some of the costume designs and stuff like that are very 70s-esque in that regard. But ultimately, I feel like it's slow in places. I get some of the complaints, and some people will always say, oh, the Rapicon was like the after this was always the slow one before it. But I was watching this, I was quite enjoying the tone, aesthetically how it looks. I liked the effects. I liked how serious the characters were, like more in it as well. When it was revealed of what it was, that this big robot thing or this mechanical massive object thing, I was like, all my brain could go to was Transformers, and I'm like, oh, that's Unicron. I'm like, that's Unicron. He's come from the mechanical part of space. He's from Transformers and Star Trek, confirmed to be combined universes. They're related. It just, yeah, and then when it revealed the whole Voyager thing, that was pretty cool. I thought it was a cool reveal. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's a good little thing. Obviously now, it's kind of commonplace. We found a bit of old Earth history, and it's kind of commonplaces in some episodes of Star Trek. But then for that, then it's probably like, whoa, when people were watching it back then, they were like, this is really cool. That's a really cool bit of history there, and a lot of bit of callback to obviously our past in that sort of universe when you're looking through it. But I honestly, I quite like this, and I just like the imagery and everything. Like good shots of the Enterprise were in this, gorgeous shots of the Enterprise from the exterior. You sort of got a feel for the scale of the ship itself, like the massive scale of it. And then you compared it to, I'll call him Unicron. You compare it to him, he's like a giant thing. He's massive, and the Enterprise is like tiny in comparison, whereas before you saw it as a massive ship, starship, and then you compare it to him and he's like massive. So I like that sort of thing. I loved some of the imagery, and it was really good to watch and see that on screen. I just felt like it was really cool. I enjoyed it more than probably what I should have enjoyed it, I feel like.
Very surprised. I would have thought you would not have taken to this.
No, it's like watching art on screen, but in motion. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of it is, you don't see, like especially when you compare it to some of the newer stuff that's out there now, you don't get things that are like this, that are filmed like this, and that are shot like this. And it's very jarring and very like, fuck's sake, we have downgraded in how we shoot and film stuff sometimes.
On a scale of Baraka to Crank, okay, hyperkinetic Crank, and that weird movie I showed you once, I told you to watch. Where would you put the motion picture?
Like, what, the fucking...
Yeah, because it's so hectic and crazy and visually like... Right? That's what I mean. Where would you put motion picture?
Baraka doesn't deserve to be on the scale.
I want to get more into what you talked about with the scale of the ship and everything and the visual effects. Yeah. But to go back onto the revelation of the probe, you're saying now, today, it's like, oh, okay, probe comes back. So that means you're okay with the idea of the probe coming back with a kind of woke messaging, right? Give us our creator.
Well, it's cool because it's like he wants to see his creator. Yeah. It's that sort of thing.
Right. But
obviously, that's very commonplace now. But yeah, back then it's like, whoa, this is cool. Because we, even as humans ourselves, we want to know who created us, sort of thing. We always, that thing where it's a common question where you want to see your maker, basically.
But you see it in many films repeated. Yeah. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a Steven Spielberg film that's buzzing around.
Prometheus was a big one, like for the Alien franchise.
There's a Steven Spielberg film, I'm sure. The Close Encounters of the Third Kind comes to mind, but it's not about creator. It's more about understanding the universe. When I first watched it as a kid, since I can remember watching it as a kid, when I got to the V'Ger scene, I'm like, is that it? You spent 2 hours watching this slow motion ride into the ship because it never seems to end. I'm like, okay, V'Ger's come back. And now as an adult, it makes me think more, but it doesn't blow me away because I watched it as a kid. But when I'm watching the movie, I do find myself just sort of picking it up in a passive sense, thinking, what it means to meet your creator. But then Spock, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but Spock goes through an experience himself. Yeah, you can't just have pure logic, and you've got to have emotions. So there's this addition of knowing that you need to keep the bits that you don't want from your own existence. That's what Spock is basically going through. He doesn't want that human side. He was just about to purge it wasn't he, at the beginning of the movie? And then at the end, he's bubbling like a baby. It just makes you think, you got to keep the negative. And there's a scene in Star Trek V. Cyborg says to him, I can take away your pain, to Kirk, so then he can have this hallucination. Do you remember Star Trek V?
Vaguely mention it, yeah.
And he's just done it to Spock and McCoy, and they've had these hallucinations because Cyborg is like interfering with them somehow. And Kirk just says, no, I need my pain. That's who I am. I'm like, dang. Maybe it's an inadvertent reference, but it's the same thing. You need your pain. That's what makes you who you are. You can't just delete the things that you don't want. Just like Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. You can't take away. You need your things. You need the bits that made you.
You live by your mistakes, man.
Right.
You learn from them. Yeah.
And they inform you on your next course of actions. Although you could get into a whole side discussion of determinism, but maybe you don't want to go there. What makes us make the choices that we make? Is it our environment? Is it ourselves? Etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to add about the plot, moving on from the idea of Vija's Voyager 6, right?
Yeah.
You're okay with that? There are parallels, and it's more obvious, but there's parallels where at the end of the movie, Decker's like, no, I want this, just like you want the Enterprise. It's a neat summation of what Kirk has been going through, because this movie was criticized for not having a lot of character development, but I think it's just so deep down that it's not obvious. And again, as a kid, then again, I'm judging myself maybe harshly, but as a kid, I just didn't pick up on it. I just thought, they're not doing anything until we get to the end. But now you can see the subtleties in what Kirk wants and what Spock learns.
Yeah. You can tell, like, obviously, audiences and that would probably not be so engaged because there wasn't any phaser fighting or any starships fighting and stuff like that. There wasn't any of that sort of mini battles happening in this. But it was more of the journey. It was more of the journey and more of the situational stuff that was going on, and them going through that weird dimensional thing and going through all that. Yeah, and then going through the internal stuff with Kirk and the other guy wanting command of the Enterprise, and Kirk just, I'm going to take command of the Enterprise. But then him being a bit out of touch with it because it's been so long since he's captained the starship. Just a lot of stuff there. There's loads of stuff happening like that, even though it's considered a bit slow and a bit pacing issues. But I found that, I don't know, maybe because I'm older and I've seen a lot of bollocks before now and so much Star Trek that's bad now. So when you watch this back, I feel like it has aged pretty good. Outside the costumes and stuff like that, writing-wise and visually, so much better than all the stuff that's coming out now. So much better. And I like the fact that there's, what was her name? The bold female.
Ilia.
She was like a good character as well. She died pretty much, but then she got sort of brought back by the machine thing, didn't she, or whatever it was?
By Unicron.
Yeah, by Unicron.
just like Megatron.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's the same. They've taken the plot of Transformers. And she came back as a hot, bold woman with nice legs and stuff, you know.
Lieutenant Ilia, reporting for duty, sir.
Welcome aboard, Lieutenant. Hello, Ilia.
Dick.
Yeah, and considering that she plays a robot, okay, so I guess we're talking about the characters, and we're going to start with Lieutenant Ilia. Even though mate, let's go back to the bit where she's a Deltan first, and they say, my record of celibacy is on record. I'm like, what the fuck is this about? And you have to look online for, like, why is this mentioned? And obviously it's fucking Roddenberry sticking his little contributions into it. But the idea is that, I don't know if you don't know why she said that, do you?
No.
Okay. The oath of celibacy was a promise that Deltans were obligated to swear upon service into Starfleet, stating that they would not take advantage of any of their non-Deltan crewmates. Right? This was necessary because Deltans were a highly sexualized species and view humans as immature in this regard. So basically, people fall in love with Deltans because they're very sexy. And there's a deleted scene where Sulu is sort of developing feelings or an attraction to her, but they cut it.
Oh, damn.
Would have given him something to do, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely something to do, yeah.
But I've seen her, it's on Memory Alpha, but I've seen her in the setup where they test her for the suit and everything. She's in the TOS uniform. So when we talk about the uniforms, they actually were using them in test screenings. It's like, why didn't you keep them? And they're not the same bright colors that you from the TOS TV show, because one of the things I don't like about this movie is that the uniforms are way off. But anyway, Lieutenant Ilia. There is one thing that we got that other people might not see, is that when Chekhov gets injured, she heals his pain. That's an addition, which adds a little bit more to Ilia. Okay, that's cut from the other, or not mentioned or shown in the other two versions. But her acting as a probe, there's a moment where she's looking at Decker and you can see she's trying to get out. It makes you think like she's still in there. And then there's a moment where Kirk realizes that Vija is a child and she says, "Kirk unit," and she's like trying to appeal to him. I'm like, whoa, I really like that.
Yeah, it's really subtle stuff like that. Subtle things like that. You don't... Honestly, it's seriously good. I was so surprised with this. It's the first time as well that you see the Klingons, isn't it, in their newer form. Even though they're still a bit rough around the edges, the bumps are not quite as what they should be. But still, this is the first iteration of them on screen, I think. And they look pretty good, really, I think, from what I saw. I thought they looked pretty good still.
I thought we were talking about characters.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I switched to Klingons, but...
Oh, okay.
I was just I'm throwing things around, but it just... sprung to my head because we were talking about her, and then I was like, oh yeah, the Klingons
okay.
as well.
Let's mention it later on. You can bring it up again.
Yeah.
Next character that impressed upon you.
Kirk's always good in this. He's always good.
Yes,
William Shatner's always good. William Shatner's always he always just embodies that character. It's the different Kirk in this. He's different compared to the one in the series because obviously he's older. He's a bit more immature, but like longer in the years. He's an admiral now, but he's still sort of hungry to be out in space. He's probably bored with the fact that he's doing what he's doing. So that's why it causes this conflict with this, got his name now, the newer guy in it, who wants to be
Decker
in charge of, Decker in charge of the refurbished sort of Enterprise that's coming up.
Do you really believe, though, it took 18 months to refurbish that ship? I mean, come on.
Nah,
Right,
surely
okay.
that would have been quicker, yeah.
18 weeks. William Shatner gets a lot of hassle for the way he acts, but I thought he was amazing. And again, it's just a very subtle performance when he's asking for things. When he says to Spock, like, "I need you." It's very human to want that, and he's trying to appeal to Spock's humanity.
I like the fact their chemistry is so good on screen. That friendship is there, even though they're two different cultures, two different things. And it's just, nothing ever really replicates that in modern Trek or anything like that now. You don't get that sort of relationship and that friendship and the thing they have on screen. It's very special, where you don't have that anywhere else. I've not seen it in any other sci-fi sort of property as of late anyway.
Yeah, with the addition of McCoy as well, I would say that's one of the redeeming parts of Star Trek V put out there right now. The bit where Kirk says to Decker, because he's trying to chew him out, and Decker says, "Yeah, but it's my job to give you all options," and he's like, "Yes, and you keep on doing that." Yeah, okay. You gotta let go of his ego.
That's what I like as well. Again, little subtleties in the character where it's like the old Kirk is still in there, but he's got to be more professional and sort of adhere to sort of the rules in some way or form. But he still wants to be that young guy still. He's challenging things and challenging people.
In a way.
Oh, we're getting a top brass send-off. Don't worry, she'll launch on schedule. We have to tow her out with our bare hands. Right, Scotty?
That we will, sir.
Do you know who Decker is, by the way?
He was meant to be taken over from Spock, wasn't he? Wasn't he meant to be a Vulcan at some point in the production? Am I thinking of somebody else?
The Vulcan is the one that you meet at the beginning who gets killed in a transporter accident. That's the one that takes over as Spock.
Oh, okay.
Decker is the replacement, is supposed to be the captain of the Enterprise now.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's an Admiral Decker in the TOS TV show. I think the episode The Doomsday Machine, and he goes insane trying to kill the big worm creature that's flying through space. So Captain Decker is Admiral Decker's son. So it's a reference because they were friends, Admiral Kirk and the Admiral Decker from the TOS show.
Okay.
Right? That's a fan reference to those who care about the TV show.
Yeah, okay.
And anything else you want to talk about with the characters?
Is it Ilia?
Yeah, we mentioned her, yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned her. I liked the back and forth she had with, I think she was with Decker, wasn't she? I think Decker had a relationship or wanted a relationship with her. I like that sort of interactions happening. That was quite good.
You know, that is format. No, not the format. That was the template for Riker and Troy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And even the idea, think of Delta, is a Roman or Latin member of the alphabet, and Beta, Zoid, Beta. So it goes that deep, and obviously Riker and Troy had a relationship. Troy's got mental abilities, and so has Ilia.
Wow.
So they were a lot of the motion picture was supposed to go into a new Star Trek TV show called Phase 2, and those elements they kept for them.
Right, okay.
As they repurposed it.
They took the template and were trying to replicate. That's cool.
Yeah. It also explains why they get quite a lot to do, whereas Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura, they don't get anything to do. They're just there.
It's weird. You know all the characters in The Next Generation, but I know they tried to replicate what the original Star Trek series did with their characters. They permeate the culture where you know who those characters are, even though you're not a fan. Whereas I don't think the same can be said with some people may know Picard and stuff like that, and Data, but the other ones probably lesser so. Everybody sort of knows those original Star Trek characters. It's crazy that, again, nothing's been able to sort of replicate that sort of chemistry or that sort of group, that friendship in like a science fiction show. It's crazy.
As the shows go on, there's fewer and fewer things that get into the culture. But I mean, by the time it's even DS9, like that did not permeate the culture. No one knows about it. Maybe the space station, maybe because of Babylon 5, I don't know. And there's nothing from Voyager or Enterprise.
Yeah, it is bad.
In a way, yes. But at the same time, you can't strike that level of quality every single time. I don't think there's any other TV show that's done it.
Yeah, I suppose as well, like you say, the 70s, when it did come out, there wasn't a lot of stuff like that back then. So that was the first sort of pioneering sort of science fiction show that came out as it was shown on TV.
Yeah.
So it probably had more of a cultural impact. Like, whereas now, science fiction is probably a more of a broader scope. So it's just commonplace. And it's only really like nerds and geeks that will probably really follow certain shows, and it won't have that massive impact for a wider audience like that did at that time.
Look at Star Wars. Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Leia, and then Han Solo, and then, C-3PO and Chewbacca, and R2-D2. But then after that, who else really?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Same
those
problem.
People still dress up as that. It's Halloween and costume parties and stuff like that because people know those characters. And even young people, like who were not even born from those times, will know who those characters are. And that's what I mean. It shows it just goes beyond its time.
Let me see my notes here if anything about the characters. Only Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Decker, and Ilia get anything. It's a shame. But I mean, they get little bits. I mean, the other characters get little bits in the following movies. But even then, people today will criticize these movies for not giving them enough to do. But what can you do in the 70s and early 80s? Really?
Yeah. I imagine this got a big budget for what it was. I don't do much research into what it got, but it looked like it was expensive, even for the time.
They say that it was the most expensive movie made. And I did do some research on it, but supposedly it was the most expensive movie ever made. But then someone pointed out that one of the Superman films cost more to make.
Okay.
And then this movie has been panned for running at a loss, it made a loss for Paramount, but actually it didn't, and I think it's the fourth most successful movie adjusted for inflation.
Yeah.
And I think it also beat one of the Abrams movies, and they were making many more millions than even the TNG movies. So history has shown that it's actually one of the top four highest grossing Star Trek movies ever made. Well, that's pretty good. More than First Contact, by the way.
Wow.
I think, if I read it right.
Jesus.
I'll put the links in the show notes anyway.
Like I said, it surprised me, because I remember putting it on and I'm like, I don't recognize this.
You know what it reminds me of? Did you ever listen to a band called Ocean Colour Scene?
I know of them because of you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. They had a string of like really successful albums, and everyone thinks they started with the Moseley Shoals, which is the one with like the Riverboat song, dun, 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 right?
Yeah.
And then the next probably 3 or 4 albums afterwards all have the same vibe. But once I found out there was another album that came out first, you go back to it, it's like Star Trek the Motion Picture in terms of vibe and quality, and it's just absolute shit. It's garbage. And I'm not saying obviously Motion Picture is garbage, but there is this definitive sort of, this is our first album, this is our first movie, and then look what we did afterwards. We just improved on it massively.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of the discography of Ocean Colour Scene. What I do like about the visual effects, since you keep touching up on it, and the budget, it allows them to sort of flesh out the universe. And something that the TV show never really did to the same degree is that you actually begin with a space station. The Klingons and the space station. Epsilon something something. I can't remember it. It's one of those names, like when we're talking about in a TNG review where we said, I'm from Gamma Delta 7. Oh, I'm from Gamma Delta 8. We have so much in common. Whatever it was, right? From the names of the planets. The Epsilon, I think it was Epsilon Station. Anyway.
Yeah.
You sort of expand on it, and you've got all these other different officers, and you've got a little guy in a spacesuit, like doing repairs and stuff, and it's fleshing out the universe.
Whoa, what a cheesy effect! I'm not an effect!
And that's what a bigger budget allows this kind of franchise to do, which is really good because back in the day, it is much more expansive. And now you can just have it in the title credits of DS9, can't you? Do you remember in season 4 when they updated them and you got the little workmen and the worker bees fixing the station? Yeah, it just adds so much to it. But the Klingons, man, I saw those 3 ships and I'm like, okay, like, yeah, let's do this. And then I fire off like one shot or something. I'm like, what? You should be like volley after volley after volley. You're just Klingons. It's so big. Just trying like...
Yeah.
You just keep fucking hitting this thing. Just do it. Just show us like how crazy you are with your Klingon spirit, and then you just come back with this one shot that's just going to knock out each ship. One shot.
I didn't like that because it's the first time we've seen them in this way for people as well, for watching this motion picture in this way. They looked I think they look pretty good considering that they sort of evolved from that actual design into later Star Trek, but they look better than obviously what they did. Yeah, with the no lumps or whatever on their skulls. No,
the head ridges.
But, the head ridges. I still think they look pretty good. The costume design was on point. Like the makeup was pretty good still. And image, I thought it was pretty good. Apart from, like you say, they should have been a bit more vicious and a bit more aggressive, especially in countering this thing. Yeah, I thought it was good.
It's just their attitude. It's like, you've been a bit conservative, aren't you? Just fucking volley it.
Yeah, I want them to be a bit more aggressive with this, but yeah.
Yeah, you'd be like, holy shit, why? You could even actually take it further and think, why are they doing this to a cloud? What are they doing? And then you find, that's why because we don't get the translation for their language. We didn't in the director's edition that we watched anyway. So then you see these 3 shots come back and you're like, oh, that's why this thing's on a rampage, a very subtle rampage. But there we are. But do you know who the lead Klingon was in that first ship? You only see one crew of the ship, though.
Doesn't he play somebody? I can't remember the name. I don't remember when you say it, but is it another Klingon in the future? Or
no?
Is it Galvan?
No, nothing like that. You're on the right track, but the wrong track. It's another Star Trek actor playing a Klingon. Okay. It's Sarek, Spock's father. Mark Leonard plays the Klingon captain.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, but you can't see it, obviously, under all that makeup.
Yeah. Damn, okay.
Yeah. I like the idea, now that I've watched it again, that you think Vidra is killing them, and it's not. It's just basically, I'll have a copy of that and just put it in its memory banks, right? Forever.
It's a great idea. It just goes to the fact that it's been done, hacked to death, some of these ideas now. But then it's such a great idea. And it can even be a good idea now today, because obviously a lot of bad guys and a lot of Trek new Trek is like crap. Like, this is a great thing. Like, I don't even know why they didn't bring this guy up again. This weird machine that's been like just living in the outer rims of space somewhere just comes to try and find Earth where it's originated from.
Yeah, but what could you do with it? That's the thing. I mean, you only have to look at, if you watch Space Odyssey 2001, have you seen Space Odyssey? Yeah. Have you seen the sequel? It's like totally different. You're like, what? You went from this to this? Yeah, the idea, like, what can you do with it? Because the difference between the sequel to 2001 is so different. It's very jarring, and so that's my fear for bringing Decker back merged with Vidra, because you can't take it. It's better to not explain it. That's the thing. Whereas in 2001, the original 2001, when he meets the obelisk thing, and then he just becomes the Star Child, it leaves you thinking, well, what the hell was that about? But then in the second one, he's like this non-corporeal super entity, and he's talking with people from humanity, trying to rescue them or something. Like, oh, so you're just like now just a lackey trying to save Earth, doing this thing. It's very, very mundane. The 5 is very different. I mean, some people like it. I'm not sure. I'd have to rewatch it to try and remember how I can get a feel for it. Anything else you want to suppose?
The theme of the whole film, everyone's searching for something, aren't they? Like, the Vidra's searching for, like, his creator, Kirk, and everybody involved. They've been sort of estranged from the Enterprise. They've all gone their separate ways. Spock's been gone for forever. So they're all trying to sort of find themselves again and come together again. And, like, Kirk is, like, the guy trying to bring them all together again and make it all normal, like it was back in the series. That's the sort of theme I get from watching it, which is really cool. I enjoyed that.
That's probably why Uhura, Chekhov, and Sulu don't get much to do, because they're searching for lines, right? It just plays into the theme.
They're searching for a spot in the movie.
Yeah.
Chekhov was on the screen at one point. He's like, I am here.
In the director's cut, actually, there's more of him in the ship announcements. It's one of the differences. So he has a few more lines, does our little Chekhov. But he gets much more to do in the next movie, so there we are. But he's permeated culture, but sadly he just doesn't get He just doesn't get enough. What's done is done. You know he was in Star Trek Picard, don't you?
What was it?
He was the president of Earth.
Oh shit! Yeah, what the fuck? That was weird.
Yeah, you don't see him, but you can hear him because he's telling all the ships to go away from Earth.
Oh yeah, yeah. Vaguely remember.
Some other things I want to talk to you about was the music. And this goes back to what I said at the beginning of the episode, where the first time I saw TOS, I've always got to try and fight this idea that it's not campy, and it was serious. And it's very hard for me to do so. But when they play the da 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 da, I'm like, that's the TNG theme. That's the TNG theme. That's the TNG theme. Can't escape it at all. When I watch the old movies, and I'm like, oh, they use that music in the TNG movies. Oh, it links in. And I just can't get my head around like inverting it and telling other people they're playing TOS music in the TNG movies or the TNG theme song.
Yeah, what came before?
Did you notice like there's 3 minutes of credits? You watch all the credits and probably listen to half the soundtrack before the movie even starts. It's 3 minutes, I counted it. Just for the stars.
Christ.
Did you skip through or did you listen?
I listened a little bit, and then I was like, why is it taking... Oh, I thought, why is it taking so long?
Yeah, back then though, I think it's probably one of the... Because back then, movies had the credits at the front, right? I watched Seven Brides for Seven Brothers about 2 weeks ago, and there's 5 minutes of credits. I'm like, God damn these old movies.
Yeah, James Bond did it a lot because of the whole intro and the theme song and stuff.
Yeah, but that was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. They did it the cool way.
Right, and then Star Wars, George Lucas actually got fined for doing it his way, where you just have the crawl, and then it just starts, and you had no credits. Oh, wow. He got fined for doing that. That's how stuck in the mud they were, with like, no, you've got to do it this way. So they're going to pay these fees, because he was so insistent on having an artistic vision for his trilogy. Yeah. I like the guy for what he did, because then afterwards, people did start doing it his way as well, if they so wished. The other thing I noticed, why did it take 18 months to retrofit the Enterprise? That just seemed inefficient. And I think we get to the 50-minute mark before we actually make contact with Vija. And the movie is like 2 hours and 14 minutes long, almost half the movie. And they're just like, we've got to get there in time. We've got to save the Earth. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, you're not rushing.
50 minutes later, yeah. Okay, I understand that there's a transporter problem on the Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you've got to take the little utility ship from one space station to another. I understand that. But the way they do it is they come from the Enterprise's behind, then they go around the front, and then they go to the side. So they do a loop-de-loop around the Enterprise. Come on, guys, just have the Enterprise facing the other way. And we can see its gloriousness when it actually leaves space dock, because then they show it all off when it leaves space dock. Yeah. The lights activating and stuff. It's like, come on, fix the pace for God's sake.
Yeah, the pacing was all over. That's the only complaint I have. Is like the pacing was a little bit off in places, definitely, and it felt a little bit long in the tooth in places. And I was like, oh, come on, let's move on to the next scene, guys.
Spock arrives at the 50-minute mark.
Permission to come aboard, sir.
Granted, sir. Granted.
I think 49-minute mark and 57-minute mark, respectively, for Vija and Spock. He gets on board the ship, and I'm like, what a twat.
It's how we all feel, Mr. Spock.
Captain, with your permission, I will now discuss these fuel equations with the engineer.
Like, Chekhov's like, hey, Spock, and he's just like, just woof.
He's like, whatever.
I think he was too Spock. He wasn't that, like, strict in the series. He was a bit more chill.
Well, he was going through his thing, wasn't he? He's going through his ceremony. He's
his
like,
menopause.
Yeah, he's like, I want to get rid of all my emotions and shit.
He's probably resentful of the fact that he has to come on board, and then there's like this little happy Russian guy. He's like, fuck, I can't deal with you at the moment. Fuck off, jack off.
He's probably that one guy at work you don't like to hang around with. He's like, oh, fuck me.
Yeah, only in small doses.
Yeah, he's like, oh, why are you here? Why are you the first person I've met?
That's how you and I met. Oh, fuck, he keeps speaking to me. Go into your own station.
Go away.
Yeah, the whole transporter thing, though, it makes sense because then they kill the other Vulcan by accident. So it's there, but I'm just wondering, how necessary was it really? Really? In terms of pacing, it suffers. But in terms of getting other characters on board the ship, like Ilia, because I think she's a late-minute Replacement. That's why Decker is surprised to see her. And then Spock comes on board. Okay. But was it worth the extra 30 minutes?
They had to have him sort of walk on instead of be transported on.
Right. I mean, if you really wanted to cut it down, you could have just had Kirk on the Enterprise already, and he's trying to teach the new guy, Decker, what to do, and it's already out of space dock. You could. Let's say they go on a mission like the J.J. Abrams movies did, where they're on a planet and they've got to escape, but somebody dies and it's like, oh shit, and then Spock comes on board. You could have done. There's something there. I'm not saying do it like J.J. Abrams, of course, but the setup, the payoff could have been so much tighter. Something else that reminds me of Star Wars, Kirk kept saying, Spock, Spock, Spock.
Spock. Mr. Spock. Spock.
15 seconds.
Spock. Transmit now.
It's like when Finn kept saying Rey's name in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Rey! Yeah. Rey! Rey! You've got to say more than this. Come on, you're the captain. There's a huge photon torpedo, plasma ball coming your way, and you're just like, Spock.
That's his best friend. He's wanting advice. He's like, would we have to be evaporated?
It was a bit frustrating, and then he catches him when Spock goes out to mind meld with V'Ger, which I thought it's a bit preposterous. Like, how do you mind meld with this giant figure of Lieutenant Ilia? And he just starts cartwheeling back, and then Kirk catches him, and he's like, Spock, have you not got anything else to say, goddammit?
Spock. Spock. Spock.
Spock's always in like danger. He's always in like existential crisis where he's on the floor, lying on the floor. Kirk's over him like, oh my god.
Think about it like this. Spock's been spinning, right? He's doing these cartwheels in space. His blood is rushing to his feet and his head, to the extremities. Kirk catches him and he's like, Spock, Spock. He's shaking him. It's like, just get him on the fucking ship. He could have a fucking brain hemorrhage. You don't know. He's been spinning.
Get him to medical bay.
He's been in the rinse cycle. Oh, man. Fuck. It's just like, it just threw me out. It threw fucking Spock out as well.
Spock out, yeah.
Just Kirk's reaction. You could have done more than that.
That's his theatre side coming out. He wants to be theatrical. He wants to like lie him down. He wanted to get his words out before getting any medical advice.
The other bit that stuck out for me, Spock does the double punch on the computer. It's not just against Klingons and Romulans and who knows what the fuck else we've seen in Star Trek, but he fucking does it to the computer, to his own Enterprise.
Like, fuck you, Unicron.
Yeah, the probe gets pissed. Why would it care about some buttons getting smashed?
That wasn't logical.
I don't know, you have to speak to Spock about that, but I mean, he just wanted to cut the access off, but why not just pull the wires out? Because that's his workstation. He's got to use it later. Oh, what a fucker. Anything else you want to mention in this movie? Just random shit.
Like I said, I just love the imagery and everything. I think the posters of this was like iconic as well, with the colours and stuff like that. Which one I mean, the three heads and like the colours, all the different colours. That's kind of an iconic sort of poster right there.
Yes.
And I think that it was used. Was it used in the Abrams films a little bit? Did they sort of take that and rip it off a little bit in one of their movies?
Kind of. In fact, I'd say the art style is in one of the new Captain America 4 posters.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it surprised me. This film did surprise me. I don't think I've seen it. And if I have, I was very young and I wouldn't have known what the fuck I was watching probably. But it surprised me because I went into it thinking this is going to be probably a bit cheesy and a bit shit. And I just thought it was quite good. Even though it's slow and it has pacing issues, I thought it was quite good. Obviously, Wrath of Khan is Wrath of Khan, and people will always say that's one of the better movies. But this, I was pleasantly surprised by this. Even though it's long, I still feel like it does hold up, especially, it's not fair to really sort of put it against New Trek, because New Trek's absolute garbage, but everything from the characters, the iconic characters, the imagery, the scale of things, you get a feel for scale of ships from V'Ger, just all of that is just great. The going through the wormhole thing, even all that crazy shit, that was good.
Yeah, they do something with the action that isn't really conventional, like you say. They don't really fire their phasers.
Yeah.
V'Ger does the firing. The Klingons did the firing. Yeah. They had to use a torpedo to kill an asteroid. That's it. That's all the Enterprise did. The rest of it is all brains from Kirk and Spock and McCoy to try and figure out how to defeat V'Ger.
I mean, when you say it, and then people will probably say, "Oh, it was boring and it was not very much happening," but I just felt like it was really cool visually as well. Great film. I think it's aged well. I think it's good. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
My opinion of it has gone up. Now, of course, we watched the director's cut. I think there's been some trimming, and the pacing has been modified. So if we were to go back to the original version, or even the Blu-ray, the DVD version from 2001, maybe we'd be like, I can't be arsed watching this. Yeah. So you've come in at the best time, really, to see it, and then you get the best impression of it.
I've got like the Game of the Year edition when a game comes out.
Right. When you said, how do you bring back Decker and everything? There is a way. Kirk found a way, or his character through William Shatner did. William Shatner wrote a book that was a continuation of Generations, and it's called The Return by William Shatner. And in his book, so this is his own canon of where Captain Kirk would diverge. Well, the Star Trek TNG canon would diverge from what we see in the movies. Basically, it was revealed in the book that V'Ger was modified by the source species of the Borg.
Oh, okay.
And it was suggested that Ilia and Decker were fused to the Borg collective in 5-dimensional space by V'Ger, and that Ilia might be the Borg queen seen later. And it goes back to the idea of, well, think about the conspiracy aliens. There's just no good idea, and this is certainly not one of them, in a way to bring V'Ger back.
Ilia, or whatever her name was. Yeah. That was a great female character. Again, going beyond the tropes of today and stuff. She was a good, strong character in this. A very prominent figure in the actual movie as well. And I liked her style, the imagery of her as well. Like, very striking, very... Your eyes were on her straight away. And very sort of took center stage in scenes and stuff like that, which was cool. And it's not like hammered home like it is now. Like, you have to have a strong female character in certain things, and you have to have all like no flaws or anything like that. She was very much like, there's so many iconic 80s science fiction characters as well, like from Total Recall and stuff like that, and she's like along the same sort of lines as that, why I think of characters in that genre and in that time space, like Ripley and stuff like that. Same sort of thing. I got the same sort of vibes.
The fact that, I mean, she's killed, because the probe is in some kind of conflict, I get the impression that she's still in there. And so by having that, she isn't 100% a victim because she's trying to fight back. Because she still is inside the consciousness of V'Ger. And there's a flaw within V'Ger, to me, that maybe that the Deltan is trying to take advantage of it in order to reach Decker, because she's always giving him the eye contact. Like, get here, get your ass here, mate with me, merge with me. Then we can have what we had before we went our separate ways in our career and stuff. So she's not 100% a victim. That's what I like about it. You just gave me that thought.
Yeah.
I think you're right. The other thing I wanted to say about how I feel about this movie, I kind of ranked it always low in my list of which movies, of the TOS movies, were my favorite. And I think I'm going to rank it higher, but I'm not sure how. In my own way, I like all the TOS movies. So when we do our rankings in about 7 years from now, we'll find out.
I'm looking forward to watching the other TOS movies now as well, because very prominently Wrath of Khan always sticks in my head because I've watched that probably the most out of all of them all. But I'm interested to watch the other ones as well, because this one surprised me. I'm quite excited to... Good.
And I'm surprised that you're surprised, because I thought you would rag on this movie.
Honestly, like, Star Trek Next Generation... First season has been a bit hit and miss. It was a bit poo in areas. And so I went into this thinking, this is going to be a bit dated now, a bit cheesy, a bit cliche Spock. And like I say, we're watching the final edition of this thing, and it's been remastered and had cuts and stuff. And I'm watching it on my big screen, and I'm like, this looks good, man.
I watched it in a fucking window while I was typing. You watched it on a real TV.
I've got a big 65-inch TV. The sound bars all there. The sound's really good, crisp. Good, you know what I mean? I'm watching it, and I'm like, wow, this is fucking... Wow, look at this.
Did the neighbours knock on the door? And like, I don't want to watch it. It sounds amazing.
There's so many, like... You could take so many screenshots and make it a screensaver in this movie.
Yes.
Like, there's so many shots. There's so many shots.
Yeah, the music and the sound effects, the sort of like down, down when the V'Ger probe is coming in. It's like ominous sort of tone to it. Down, down.
That's why all of New Discovery, all New Trek, it looks ugly in comparison. It looks so generic and so rubbish in comparison to this. Whereas this is a throwback to a time when I feel like people cared what they were putting on screen and how they shot stuff, and very artistic, very driven by creativity, very much is there in this. Whereas that's just generic sludge that's churned out just to sort of go, oh look, this is Star Trek now, and it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, the composer, he never lets down the franchise with his music. Yeah, I was watching it in bits. I suppose you sat down and just watched it in one go, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. I watched 30 minutes here, then 30 minutes there, writing down, next day.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would have. Oh man, I'm jealous of your experience now.
Yeah, it was an experience. Yeah,
I've got.
I wasn't expecting it. Probably because I wasn't expecting it. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Got fish tanks, not a TV. So. Oh well. Did you watch it with anybody?
No, just me.
Ah, okay.
As well as it being Star Trek, it's very good science fiction. Very pure, very good science fiction as a whole. I miss that from watching this genre, science fiction in general, like Star Trek, Star Wars, Stargate, stuff like that. I love Stargate. I love watching all of that. You don't get a feel for this anymore with new science fiction projects that are out currently. I definitely don't have that same feel of it. Like, everything's so the same now, and they seem to butcher everything. Everything looks the same, everything feels the same. They have the same sort of crappy humor in all these modern TV shows now. And it's just, a lot of it's cringy, a lot of it's just like eye rolls, and you're like, oh, just, why is it not like it was?
It's aged in a good way, like a fine wine, against the sludge that we've got today.
It's sad in a way, because you're just like, Christ, you could do, with the technology people have now, you could do so much better. It's just the writing and the creativity behind everything. Like, why is it not there?
Okay, should we wrap it up? I mean, I don't want to give a score. I think we're both happy with it. I think I've come out of this with a higher opinion of it.
I always know those characters, and I'm just like, it's so happy to see them in this different scenario compared to the series, and sort of see them interact again, and sort of have them go on a little bit of a journey of discovering each other again, and like being a crew again. And it's just special. That sort of stuff is sometimes lost in new stuff, and this is a reminder that like shit was good. Like, you could film stuff, you could actually create stuff like this, and there's still possibilities of doing these things, but yeah, it's lost at the moment.
If we look at the 6 movies, they take some serious swings. I mean, this one is pure exploration, as we've already discussed. Then you get into like action, but then 2, 3, and 4 are like a soft trilogy, which is really cool, whereas Star Wars is a hard trilogy, like with deliberate purpose. Then you get to 5, and it's like, okay, is it really 2 weeks after the 4th one? Does it look like it? But then they go and look for God, and then the last one is a political thriller. Like, there's all sorts going on. Oh, the 4th one is a comedy. So it takes all sorts of different divergences, but it's still cohesive as a whole.
Yeah.
The only thing that holds it back is I just wish the uniforms were more TOS style. This white, blue, medical blue, it's just no. They should re-edit it and put everybody in TOS uniforms.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. 100%.
Which they did, by the way. There was because I looked at the edits, and you know at the end of the movie where Kirk is like, oh, let's just go that away. And Spock and McCoy are standing behind him. They've got these coloured patches on their arms. And in post-production, in this new version, they actually swapped the colours because they knew they were wrong. They went to that level of detail. Crazy.
Wow.
So just put on all the TOS uniforms. I'm really happy with this movie, and I guess in a later video we'll do a rankings video. Can't do it now. Got to watch them all, get a fresh perspective on it all together.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we'll end
Nothing
it there.
else to say.
Yeah,
just great.
Can't wait for the next one, eh?
Yeah, I'm just surprised. I'm genuinely surprised. I am.
Okay, that's good. That's a positive note to end it on. I'm surprised as well. All right, everyone else, thank you for watching this far. And our next review in order will be actually season 2 of TNG. We're going to go back to the TV show. Okay, we're going to do a movie after each series. That's our plan. All right. Bye, guys.
Okay.